Hello and welcome. Have you ever really thought about what it takes for a doctor's note or any observation they make to become actual evidence in a court case? Today, we're going to break down that pretty incredible journey from a private checkup all the way to a public courtroom to see how a simple medical fact gets transformed into powerful legal proof.
Right. So this is the big question, isn't it? How does a simple observation, a note jotted down on a file, get that official stamp of approval from a court? How does it become something that can actually help decide someone's fate? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack.
So, to get our heads around this, we have to start with the idea of evidence itself. And it's not just a casual word for proof. In a court of law, evidence is everything. It's the absolute bedrock of any case. Seriously. Without it, you've got nothing to build on.
And when you look at the formal legal definition, like this one from the Indian Evidence Act, something really important jumps out. It says evidence is what the court permits or requires. This tells you it's not just a free-for-all of information. It's a very carefully filtered set of facts, all screened by super strict rules to figure out what really happened.
Okay, so all of this information that the court decides to look at, it basically comes in two main flavors. Think of them as the two main highways for truth to enter the courtroom: what people say and what's written down on paper.
On one side, you have oral evidence. This is testimony. It's what a witness gets up and says under oath right there in front of everyone. And on the other side, you've got documentary evidence, the paper trail. This is all the physical stuff, the reports, the contracts, that the court can actually hold and inspect. Now, even within that paper trail, there's a pecking order. Primary evidence is the real deal, the original document. Think of it like the master recording of a song. Secondary evidence, well, that's a copy, a certified photocopy, for example. And courts will always demand the original unless there's a really, really good reason it's gone. Because let's face it, every time you make a copy, there's a tiny risk of an error or even a little bit of foul play. But not all evidence is a smoking gun. Take this example of circumstantial evidence. No one actually saw the murder happen, but a witness saw the suspect with a knife near the scene just a few minutes before it all went down. It's not direct proof, right? But it allows the court to connect the dots and draw a pretty powerful, logical conclusion.
And then there's hearsay. This is just secondhand information. It's when someone testifies about what someone else told them. Like, Bob told me he saw it. The problem is, Bob isn't the one in court to be questioned. It's basically legal gossip, and courts are extremely wary of it, so it's almost never allowed.
Okay, so now let's apply all these ideas to a really specific, high-stakes world: medical documents. This is the moment where a doctor's professional judgment starts its transformation into a powerful legal tool.
You might think a simple sick note is no big deal, but it's governed by incredibly strict rules. And each rule is there for a reason, to make it legit and prevent fraud. It needs the patient's signature, a couple of identification marks to prove who they are, the exact diagnosis to stop any vague excuses, and get this, the doctor has to keep a copy for 2 years. It's all about creating an airtight paper trail. And the responsibility gets even heavier. When a patient dies, the doctor who is treating them has a legal duty to issue a death certificate. And notice that it has to be done for free. This isn't some service you buy, it's a mandatory, official act.
And certifying a death is this very precise, logical process. It's not just one line. The doctor has to map out the whole chain of events. They start with the immediate cause. Let's say it was pneumonia. Then they have to state the antecedent cause, what led to the pneumonia. And finally, they have to identify the underlying cause, the disease or injury that kicked off the whole tragic domino effect in the first place.
And believe me, this whole system has teeth. Under the law, here in Section 197 of the Indian Penal Code, it's a punishable offense for a doctor to knowingly sign off on a false certificate. The stakes couldn't be higher, which ensures a doctor's professional and legal integrity are one and the same.
So now we get to the big one, the most detailed and scrutinized piece of medical evidence there is: the medical legal report. This is what's typically put together in criminal cases, usually at the request of the police or a magistrate.
Every single medical legal report is split into two very distinct parts, and this separation is vital. Part 1 is just the facts, what the doctor saw, measured, and observed, and crucially, this includes important negative findings. That's what they didn't see. Then, Part 2 is the opinion, and that opinion can only be based on the facts from Part 1. No speculation, no guesswork. Writing one of these reports is like navigating a legal minefield. Every one of these rules is designed to make the document totally bulletproof in court. Simple language prevents misinterpretation. Objectivity and including what you didn't find prove you weren't biased. Writing it right away and signing every page ensures it's fresh and tamper-proof. Each rule is a shield against a potential courtroom attack.
But here is the final amazing twist. After all that careful writing, all those rules, the paper itself is still not enough. That report doesn't become real evidence until the doctor goes to court, takes an oath, and testifies to what it says. The written document has to be backed up by a living, breathing person.
So what does all this mean? It means our entire justice system relies on this incredibly disciplined, structured process. Every single piece of evidence, especially from a doctor, has to follow this strict path designed to filter out bias, to filter out error, and to make sure that only the most objective information possible makes it to a judge and jury.
Which leaves us with a final thought. We've seen that you really need both, don't you? The written document provides the cold, hard facts, but the sworn testimony is what brings them to life. So, what do you think is the true foundation of justice? Is it the unchangeable ink on a page, or is it the conviction in a witness's voice?